to tonight's Board of Health meeting for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. We are being recorded. We're going to call the meeting to order. We'll do roll call.
Tom Fickner here.
Joyce Gilmore here.
Colleen Stefani here.
Jack McClellan here.
Alan Greenberg here. We're all here. We'll move along to good and welfare for the public. We have no one in the live audience. Do we have anyone at home, Jack?
We do not have anybody online with us.
Right, moving along, agenda item number 4, new business. Board of Health minutes for review and approval. We'll do July 9th first, please. Anyone have any comments?
Well, there were a couple of little things actually I'd already talked to Jack about, so he's aware there were a couple of little spelling grammatical spots, but other than that, content, I was fine with the content.
Me as well. Joy.
I was fine and I didn't pick up on any grammar. But maybe I'm still in vacation mode. All right, so we'll have a, we don't have any objections. We'll have a vote to approve the meeting minutes for July 9th, 2025, please.
I'll make them, oh, you wanna go?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 9th, 2025, noting the adjustments that our administrative President Jack Taylor.
Second,
All in favor?
Joyce, I.
Tom, I.
Alan, aye. Very good. You. We'll move on to the meeting minutes for July 24th, 2025, please.
Same, no issue with content. There's a couple tweaked grammatical things I presented to Jack, he's aware of, so. But content, I'm fine.
Joyce,
I went through it all. I don't have anything.
once again, I didn't even pick up on the grammatical stuff. So I'm good. Can we have a motion, please, to approve the meeting minutes for Thursday, July 24th, 2025? Please?
I move that we accept the minutes of July 24, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Tom, I.
Joyce, I.
Alan, aye. Jack?
That was the meeting that I was at down at the Cape.
And you looked very good. You looked like you were having a great time and appreciate
Very
took
nice.
the time out of your vacation to call in. Right, so we're gonna move along. Jack, we'll.
We are going along to number 5.
All right. Well, regulations draft submission update.
All right, so for the last board meeting, we were submitting the changes to Tara's town council for her review. Me and Tom were talking. I was in my own mind thinking that we were waiting on town councils before we went to public meeting. But Tom says that's not the case. So I just wanted to get clarification if we're waiting on town council. We'll go ahead and schedule that public hearing.
And actually, just to be specific, I was reviewing the meeting where the town council came into play was when we were discussing the blasting portion of regulations, not the other things that we already had ready to go. So with regard to Karis stepping in to look at, it was regarding having a look at the blasting portion.
Right, and I think we discussed that if she got to it before we had the town meeting,
Correct.
that was great, and if not, we would do it at a later date.
So I think there's a little just a misunderstanding. I think Jack was thinking overall, the whole thing was going to go in front of Karis for her review. And in our conversation, I just kind of didn't know, I didn't think that was really the understanding, so.
Yeah, no, I recall it that way.
And I do apologize to the board for my misunderstanding.
No,
Better to be safe than sorry.
Do we, I mean, since she's working for us, do we tell
He
her?
hasn't responded to my email yet. But I will be putting in, just so the board knows, that the hearing will be on September 24th now. Because I will place the ad for a public hearing then, if that's the board's desire.
Yeah, we have to give the public 15, is it calendar days or business days? You know? Notice.
Public
for
hearing,
the- No,
15 days.
calendar date?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, so
Yeah.
when we looked at the calendar,
we were. a
we
day short.
realized we'd be short by a day in order to make it the next meeting. So
September 10th.
that's why Jack has it pushed out to the 24th meeting of September. Just to give it that full complement of the 15 days to the public.
now if Karis doesn't come back before that time, you guys move forward with your public hearing, and then she comes back with revisions, you realize you're gonna have to have another public hearing.
Well, the only elements that I was concerned about, or that I thought we had concern about, would be the blasting portion of regulation.
I agree,
I
that's the
wasn't-
way I understood it.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily concerned with any of the ads that Tom had proposed, because I believe, and I'm of the understanding that all those elements are really referencing DEP guidelines that are actually active and in place in the state of Massachusetts in some way, shape, or form. I don't think what he's proposing to us here is brand new in the state. That's.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but I mean, just the legalese of it, should she have any revisions, it could be anything.
Right,
If she
but
revises, then,
in my opinion, now, I tend to be a little dogmatic, but I would say to her, we're having a public hearing and we need you to talk, address this before the hearing.
Yeah.
Think that-
yeah, we can do that, but I'm just so that you guys are aware, if there were, you would probably have to ask her, to let her know that you already had your public hearing, if you make these revisions, would you be required to have them?
Yeah, it's not, I thought we were only submitting the blasting portion,
To Karis, that's all I thought too.
because I'm sort of along the lines of what Tom is saying, that it wasn't a brand new regulation, and the modifications to the regulation are minor.
Mhm.
I can remember when we went from having to, we wanted everybody to submit a engineered drawing as to where the location of the proposed well was. And I don't believe we had to do a public hearing for that, and that was more drastic a change than what our revisions are to the existing regulations, other than the blasting. That's a whole new component. So I wasn't even expecting her to put her eyes on anything but the blasting
Right,
component of the well regs.
All right, so I will tell Karis tomorrow. I will call her personally instead of emailing. Tell her the regulations that I sent you disregard because there's nothing that she really needs to look at right now until the blasting regs come into play.
Well, you wanted that blasted, that's right too, you guys are just putting the definitions in there, you're not gonna, all right, that's
Right,
where
so-
that's my mistake, all
So
right.
the plan was, with what Colleen had drafted, would be to put that before Karis, and if she had the opportunity before time came for the public hearing to give her approval for
That's
the
right.
issues,
Okay.
we would incorporate it into the well regs.
Okay.
That's
Outside
why
of
we had
that,
these discussions,
That's right.
to help everybody get back on that.
we would at minimum do the definitions, they're pretty benign, we can include them right up front.
Yeah.
You're
And
right.
then all the things that we've discussed with Tom, were pretty much, I think to Alan's point, straightforward. There's nothing I see as being an issue, to be honest with you.
Right,
From a legality perspective, blasting proposed brought up a different discussion because it was kind of a brand new whole element to the regs. And maybe how we were gonna, we had a little discussion about how we were gonna potentially work any kind of added fee element, and that was kind of led into that discussion. Well, where were we gonna stand on legality with that whole thing as well? So, but
All right, so I'm not wasting town money. But I tell town council, disregard those regulations until blasting regulations come into play. But what she has now is what Tom and the board has already decided on.
but Karis also has a blasting section.
We have nothing for blasting yet.
Yeah.
that document that we looked at last meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't think that was in the regulation that Tom had.
It wasn't in the regulations, it was something called.
Oh, that I did not send her. I only sent her the regulations, Tom, the board of health.
Okay,
yeah, so that needs to go to her, and I already sent it to Tom, and Tom was gonna get back to me with commentary.
All right, so that wasn't incorporated into the well regulations that I sent her,
The well rigs,
because I didn't put it in.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Tom to put it in where it's supposed to go.
the well rigs can be put aside,
Okay,
but the blasting section
all right.
is what we need her to put her eyes on.
Over what she has right now are well regulations, no plastic.
So
No
she-
blasting.
She needs.
All right, so I will tell her.
Switch out the info.
Okay, I will tell her.
Right, the blasting rigs we're fine with.
Okay.
It's the
The well regulations. we're
well
fine.
rigs we're fine with. It's the blasting section.
Okay.
that's completely brand new.
And because it's so small, it's not a big deal.
No,
She should be
right.
able to do that for
Okay.
us. I mean, that's her job.
All right.
And it's not like it's gonna take.
But Tom Ryan has incorporated those as of yet, so I have not received those, so Karis does not have those. So I'll tell her,
yeah,
don't look at the regs yet.
we knew from the last meeting that there was gonna be a further discussion between at least Colleen and Tom
Okay.
about what Colleen had put forth before us. So but the thought was that maybe because of the legality element, that whole section should be looked at by Karis. But that was the only
Okay.
piece of the well rigs that we'd be adding that was any issue from a legal perspective. The rest of it seemed to be pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so she can disregard what you said,
Yes,
but we need to get her a blasting component
okay,
over to her, put her eyes on.
okay.
And we need it before the hearing.
Ideally,
I will
Ideal,
request that.
ideal.
Ideal, yes.
Doesn't happen,
right.
We can put it in later, because we're still waiting on ADU stuff too.
correct. You'd use the other component, that
We'll
placeholder.
kill two birds with one stone, that's. All right, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
So we'll still have the public hearing scheduled for 9/24.
Correct.
Plenty of time.
Yep.
All right, anything else on blasting rigs?
Or well rigs.
Well rigs. Wow. Well
See
regulated.
how it's like,
Yeah, they're like.
Blasting rigs will be coming.
Who's on first?
yeah.
Yeah, we were doing that with something else too. Can't remember what it was, but we had to be very careful the wording. And, because they're not interchangeable, but off your tongue, they can be. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Board of Health admin updates.
All right, so Atlas has collected their last 3 residents' well samples
Good.
last night. So we have all 12 property samples collected. Now it's just a matter of getting the well samples analyzed, the results back to us and to James McQuaid at DEP. But they are officially been collected.
That's fantastic.
Right.
And I know that you or Tom brought up the 3 new wells on where they possibly could be going. Jennifer sent me roughly where they would be going. So these blue squares down here are gonna be, I'll zoom in a minute, are gonna be roughly where they will be going.
Okay, this is because we
Yeah.
discovered that the 3 wells that were existing are in the landfill versus on the edge of the landfill.
Correct, so there she is proposing these locations. So that's the first one.
Yeah,
That's the second one.
yeah, we're going towards Bellingham Street.
Yep. And that's the third one. That's what she is proposing.
Okay, and the wells, the 3 wells that are not located in the right locations will just be capped.
Correct, that's MW2A.
Yeah.
Here. And I want to say these 2.
3 or 4, yeah.
Mhm.
So they'll still exist, but
They still exist, but they will be
so they'll just lock them.
correct.
Are they locked now?
They are locked now,
Yeah, so.
yeah,
Um,
but they won't be tested after the new ones are installed.
what I will throw out there right now, just so that there's no confusion once the new wells are online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those wells that are essentially abandoned for now, if they should be painted a certain color. Something to really set them apart so that if there's a technician filling in for the regular technician that comes out,
Mhm.
it either red flags that they need to call the office or,
I want to say that they have tags that they put on the caps that say abandoned on them.
okay. Just want to make sure that,
That would be good.
Yeah,
just
they
like
have
when we have a substitute trash driver and they start to loot at a different point, I want to make sure that if there's a, temporary technician that goes out there, that they're testing the right wells.
Mhm.
I think you're right about that. It's a colored
Yeah.
tag.
Okay,
Yeah. And it's universal. Everyone knows if you see that color that it's offline.
okay,
So
I'm good with that.
Okay.
A good point, though.
again, having been there back in the day, that if you kind of call that the first well, that's on Ferrucci's dump that he had.
Joyce, I love you. You're beating a dead horse. It's not gonna happen. The Board of Health and the town are gonna be responsible regardless.
That makes me really crazy.
No, and we understand and respect the fact that you were there when it all went down.
Right.
But unfortunately, this is where we're at today, and this is the area we have to operate in. There's no turning back.
Yeah.
It was a bad deal back then, and it's a bad deal today, but
And the cost was minuscule, but they were just gonna do that one test. It really wasn't that much of a fight for legal cost or whatever to fight them for it.
Yeah, it just was, he did that whole piece of property over there, dug it up and,
Yeah.
you know my story. I went there. That this ain't,
this ain't groundwater.
Water on the ground.
this ain't groundwater, it's water on the ground.
Ah,
But,
cool.
you can't help but bear that thing that says you should be punished for this, but he's dead, come on.
No, and we appreciate your passion, and I mean,
I'm not Irish for nothing.
there you go. All right, so we'll move on, Jack.
Next one is the landfill catch basin update. I did speak with John Dudley at the highway department. He said he doesn't know when he's gonna get to it, but he did offer again, if you are looking for contractors' names, he can give us a list.
What specifically is the work scope for that?
It's settled around the earth before the seed took hold.
Okay,
So two things happened. We got a little bit of wash.
yeah,
And we got some settle.
Yeah.
Now, I know I was told that they compacted it.
Yeah.
When they did the backfilling. Doesn't mean that you're gonna get all the air out.
Mhm.
When's our inspection?
September, mid-September.
and that inspection is.
The monitoring,
just a well.
Physical
the
inspection.
well monitoring. It's not the third party. I don't think
Oh.
they scheduled that. No, it's the regular Atlas quarterly.
Okay.
Regular
inspection.
testing.
The regular testing, the
Okay.
practice testing.
Okay, that, I feel a little bit, I did not want them to go down after we told them that we completed the task and do a physical inspection and have an issue. John does not know when he's gonna get.
And he's uncertain. There's a lot going on at the highway department with his guys going out multiple areas. He doesn't know when he'll be able to get down there. So if we're looking for a rush to try to get it done, he's offering names and numbers.
Is there a possibility of creating a prioritization element? Somehow in having a discussion with the things that are on the schedule that maybe could factor this piece into it?
If the board is,
I don't think we should tell John how to run his department.
No, I would not tell, but I'm just wondering, just in a discussion, I mean, maybe he's got things that are just so finite that just have to get done and they're just with what he's got left in the time he's got, because it's not like he has through the winter. Sometimes you're going to do so much so far, right? I just was,
Why don't we, just, I vote to just table that for now,
okay,
where we don't have a physical site inspection
yep,
scheduled,
yep.
and I will see what I can.
And were you thinking of the third party inspection? What, was that what you were thinking about?
I was thinking of the third-party inspection where they come out and evaluate the site.
I can ask Jennifer. Jennifer Atlas is the one that does that, right? Or is it somebody else?
I
Is that
thought it
what's
was
doing it?
DEP that came out.
Oh. Is that something we
Because
can
they're the
ask?
ones that told us we had the work we had to do on the wells. They're the ones that told us about the depressions that had to be fixed.
Mhm.
And they're the ones that told us about the failed catch basin being a safety hazard. Right? That was DEP.
Yeah, so then the third
And this-
party person would report to the DEP, would report those tasks to the DEP, but it's not Jennifer, because they monitor, do the
No,
monitoring.
like, we could ask them, when are you coming out to do your inspection?
Well, wasn't it like on a 2 or 3 year rotation?
This is our second year. It's on a 2-year rotation, so this is our second year to get it done.
That's my concern, because that's an automatic fit. They go out and look at that catch basin, that's an automatic fit. I don't want an automatic fit.
Third party inspection is usually complete before the end of the year, so we have a few months.
Okay.
I can see when the last one was done and see roughly it was maybe done in November,
Well,
October.
see what you can find,
Okay.
but, you know, we'll table that for now. I mean, that's my vote, is to just,
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, because we don't have the stuff to go with it, yeah.
and we'll, update in the future. Okay.
Due to the flu.
That's
I
cute.
love it.
All right, so the next topic for Board of Health admin updates is the BOHP schedule update. Since our last meeting, I did update the fees for the engineering cost. Everything is now up to date for our engineering cost. And we discussed about if they pay for a permit now and it takes 3 years to get the system done, obviously the fees are gonna be incremental throughout the years.
Right.
So me and Colleen thought of this language, if everybody can see it, if not, I can think I can.
Any change in engineering fees for the date fee? Installation shall be-
Yeah, look, it's just, that's great, yeah.
Yeah,
And
either
you
that
could-
or, assessed accordingly.
Is there any wording?
You could probably take the apostrophe out, 'cause fees could be plural,
Okay.
as opposed to possessive.
Right.
Yep, okay.
That's the English major in me.
I hated English, so
Get
I'll
it?
take all I can from English.
Yeah, no, that's good.
No, I think that covers it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fees, so yeah, just make that adjustment.
Right,
in the
and
word
that way,
fees.
you gotta,
Change
the,
dating time.
it's on paper that says, look, if you don't do it right away,
Mhm.
because
Right,
you're,
and there's a notification
Yeah.
and it's public, so
right, exactly.
I think would be,
What was the wording we had prior?
I only have the top portion for the,
Okay, so the top portion is the same.
yes.
What are you thinking, Alan? He's
Well,
thought,
I know we were trying to catch those special systems, but we really have kind of caught those with the fee
yeah,
structure,
so this reflects the approvals that we put forth
right?
from the last meeting
Right,
on the other two categories. We had already approved an uptick in the 440. I think at the last meeting, we went to the category of 441 to 2000 GPD, we bump
Right,
that to
right.
850. And then 2001 plus GPD, up to 1100.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that we're catching it in the fee section. Those systems that are out of the ordinary, that we don't see that many of.
Yep.
So we've caught that in the fee structure, so.
Are you talking about like if it is an additional plan review type of thing?
Or additional inspections because of the size of the system.
Well, in the
We're
application itself,
for that.
what he's gonna show you.
This is the permit application itself that they fill out,
Okay,
all right? And here's what the agreement and understanding.
yeah,
All additional plan reviews and or inspections must be paid in advance and scheduled through the Board of Health office. So it talks about anything that requires additional plan reviews and or inspections outside the standard review inspections.
okay.
And they have to be paid prior to scheduling an inspection.
This has great suggestion.
Yep.
That's the way to not be chasing.
Right.
Exactly.
Right,
And it just comes to a halt
Yeah.
until
right.
until the fee is paid.
And so the key will be making sure that Tom and Steve understand. So if they know they're going beyond the standard,
They need to.
they need to give Jack a heads up
Mhm.
so that he can do his thing.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that we can do too is create a spreadsheet, right, of all the active plans that are in progress.
Mhm.
Steve sends his bill, or Tom sends his bill, we have the column for the fee paid, and then they're billed so far, that way they can keep track of it too.
Mhm.
If they go over what that fee is, then you can notify them that, hey, listen, any other additional inspections you need to do. So, yeah,
Yep.
that's how I keep track of that too, so that, we don't end up eating it.
I agree.
Good point.
And if the fee is to be paid before the additional inspection or the additional plan review, when they call in, they can say, I need to do another inspection, or we need to do another plan review. So that we know about it right away before they have to actually do it. I mean, sounds like a lot of work, but.
It is, but it's, you know, the
Well,
same
that's-
process, you know, over and over. I mean, depending on how many septic systems you have going.
With a spreadsheet like that, because I don't do that type of thing. Is there almost a way of like setting an alarm? So if, as you approach the fee collected, it'll like flag you and let you know that it's out of balance?
Well, you'll see it when you reconcile the invoices to your spreadsheet, because that's even what we do, we'll take it. The engineer, we get an invoice in from like Tom or Steve, you know, and they list the properties that they've done work on. So you go back to your spreadsheet. And that's where that form that Blackstone uses, you know, for the component inspection, the engineering as-built and the installer's as-built. That gives you the dates, and that's also captured on the spreadsheet. So if someone called up and asked and said, hey, you know, was the component inspection done? You can look on your spreadsheet and say, yeah, it was done, you know, on July.
So that the balance available.
Yes.
Will decrease.
Yes,
So you'll be able to see it go away.
Correct.
Okay,
right,
I guess that's what I was trying to
right.
articulate.
And then you'll know, like, you know, when you see the
Oh,
date.
there's only a
you'll
dollar.
see- Yeah, exactly. That, you know, that way there, you know, that's just another tool.
Okay.
That's all.
And the other part too is, there's a possibility that as these plans get to, at least to Tom, so I'm not sure how if we actually have any direct communication with Steve like we do Tom.
Yeah.
But if we do, like with the plans, I mean, Tom has a chance maybe right up front to say, you know what, I'm looking at this plan. And I could probably tell you, I'm gonna need more than whatever category that falls in. And you might even know
In advance.
in advance before things even really get rolling a lot,
Yeah, you're right, just by them looking.
just by them looking at it.
Plan.
Same with maybe Steve said, oh yeah, this system, yeah, I'm gonna do this 5 times.
Well, they'll know just the size of the
Even
system.
outside,
They're
right.
gonna know that, you know, for Tom, it's more about, you know, what the engineer proposes, right? I mean, the engineer should know what they
Right.
need to, what the criteria is, you know,
Right.
if Tom has to call you up and say, hey, listen, you didn't put an alarm on the tight tank, that's foolishness. You know, when Steve Donatelli is more about, you know, the material that's brought in, I
Right.
mean, they could bring in
Right.
some
Crap.
material and Steve's like, yeah, no, I want, so then that's a reinspection.
Right, so
you
that's
know.
happening on the fly in the middle of everything, so.
And that's how some of it can happen too, you know, but that's where, if that's a reinspection, then that fee based upon the applications clearly states.
Yep.
It's paid, but so Steve will know.
Yep.
Not to go back out there, because he would ask, hey, did they pay that reinspection fee? Now, I mean, before, you know, now with technology, you send them a text message. and also-
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's how,
Comes down, yeah.
and then Steve becomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll work with Tom and Steve, make sure we get everything,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right?
I just don't want to make it process that takes time away from all the other
It's
things.
not gonna take that much time. It's not like I get septic systems in every day.
Thank God.
Yeah.
All right, so the next item for me is the lake level testing update. On screen, I have what Dan Byer keeps track of is all the testing results that come back from Microbac. So as you can see, the latest results is August.
18.
August 11th. Oh, August 18th, I'm sorry, August 18th. And that's for the beach side. So for E. coli, it was 6.3. And beach side 2, it was 10.9. Yeah, 10.9.
They had to close the beach and all this shit.
Not at all this year.
That's what I thought, which is fantastic.
Hmm.
So where is, you said one of them is beachside 1 and one was beachside 2, Jack?
Yeah, so see here, beach side is the right side. So if you're at the beach, just
Okay,
split the
left
beach
side
area in
forward.
half.
Yeah, okay,
So the right side, you'd be looking out into the lake from the beach, the right side,
Yeah.
obviously the left side.
okay.
But the week before, look at what it was before.
Yeah, wow.
Well, even earlier, back in June, you had a 143
Yeah,
on that same side. So you said the right side, when you're looking into the beach, the right will be as you're looking in.
like if you go into the beach area, you're on the sandy beach,
I'm looking out to the lake.
you're looking out to the lake, yeah.
So the right,
So there's a rope, that's the beach area. That
Correct.
Dan has roped off. So we split that in half. There's a right side, then there's a left side.
right, so the right side is as I'm looking into the water.
Correct. And that's where that runoff tube,
That's the side that is the storm drain. Stormwater
Yeah.
runoff that goes in on that side. That had been a thought as to
yeah,
potential
but yeah.
source.
That,
We talked about that before.
the stormwater treatment. that
But
goes-
then you look at these other numbers, all these other times, they're very, very low. What's the threshold? Or the state,
235?
235? Go well under, but
Oh, yeah,
And they didn't have to close because. of-
yeah, which is
Yeah.
huge. I don't think I remember a year where they didn't have to close.
No, I think we closed 3 times last year.
So I mean, that's fantastic.
well, we discovered a few years back that what had been happening for a period of time was every time there was a test that was beyond the standard, they were automatically closing the beach. What we found out was that we have an allowance to test again within a 24-hour period. When we realized that, we went to that format, the beach closings were reduced dramatically.
Mhm.
Because you have that, you're given that allowance.
Okay, good news.
You had, you got to connect with Isabella to continue conversations that are
I haven't yet.
not yet, but some.
Yeah, at some point we will.
Just to kind of
Yeah,
touch base there.
right, yeah.
And that's all I have for my updates.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
No objections. We'll move on to health agent updates, please. Colleen?
I'm continuing to work on the blasting regulations. kind of piecemealed them together when I was incorporating the well stuff and the definitions. A few more definitions. I'm gonna probably have a draft probably in the next 2 weeks or so, but I'm gonna meet with the fire chief. And we're gonna talk about them first. And some of the language that's in there within the definitions, the various and sundry, blast mats and fly rock and definitions like that. Talk over with him the actual state application. And blasting regulations.
What was one of the radiuses that we were talking about? Like, it was like a, what was it, 1,000 feet radius?
Yeah, some, I've come across that some of them are, the setback is 1,000 feet.
Yeah, what we talking, 500?
Yes, yeah, which I think is more reasonable. And we looked at, looked at that area, Jack and I, and we looked at the 500 feet. I mean, if we went to 1,000 feet, it's like you'd be in the water or the woods. But that doesn't necessarily mean for, that was just for that area. Other areas, it could be different. But the other thing too that incorporated in there was a groundwater protection plan too. I had come across some language and doing some research on it and read up on it and whatnot, talked to Isabella a little bit about it. We thought it was a good idea to incorporate it. Because blasting can have an impact on, the groundwater, and they have, that's part of the pre-blast plan is that they have to identify those bodies of water.
I think the 1,000-foot radius is a bit on the excessive side.
I
as
do.
stated. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I was gonna ask Tom too, but I really want to ask the fire chief as well. And the other thought that I had was to speak with Maine Blasting. They were so helpful when it was going on. I was gonna ask them what their opinion was on that setback.
Well, and I think based on the information we received as to how slow this moves in the ground, if we went to 1,000, you would have to be monitoring forever because of how slow the plume will move underground. And obviously, we want to catch it before it goes anywhere. So I would say that the 500, and I know I asked that question when you presented it, because I kept seeing 500. Is 500 is, kind of the standard of the industry. So maybe those 1,000 foot radiuses may be applicable in conditions other than what we have. Maybe in a city where they're putting a new skyscraper up and they have
Right.
to blast.
Right,
1,000 feet would probably be a lot more appropriate than out here,
right.
for everything. Just,
I will ask, others their professional opinions on it too, just so that we have that information and the board can, take that into consideration.
pretty good.
24 Kinsley Lane. We've been in touch with the property owner, also the individual that did the work, who we advised is not licensed installer in the town of Mendon, so they need to file their permit for the repair. Steve Donatelli spoke with that individual and advised him of that. We did receive a letter from the individual regarding what the reasoning for what they did, as far as capping the pipe and filling in the illegal field. But both Steve and I talked about it, and Jack too, we all agree that we need a formal Title V, and not just a letter. So Steve advised that gentleman of it yesterday. And so we're expecting a Title V, and we're also expecting a permit application. So between the three of us, me, Jack, and Steve, will continue to pursue it.
Well, that's good.
Yes. And the situation that I spoke of last meeting regarding the housing has resolved itself. And the food inspections, we're gearing up for Rock the Block. And the Barbell 88 is gonna be having an annual event as well. So we received quite a few permit applications for Rock the Block in particular. Yeah.
Do you know the date of Barbell TV meets?
September 27th.
And what is that? What is that?
That's the gym up in the
Hastings Street Plaza?
yeah, in the Hastings Street Plaza. They have this annual event. Well, this is their second one, really. And they have a bunch of food vendors and.
So that's right across the street.
It is.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And they have like the fancy cars, the Corvettes, all that stuff, Mustangs.
yeah. And they have food vendors and regular vendors. Some of our local vendors were there last year. And then, of course, Rock the Block is gonna have the same thing, and they're gonna have some of our regular, food vendors and our regular vendors there.
And
So,
where is that held?
in the, Taft. The
Memorial Field.
Yeah,
There you go.
Memorial Field. Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Right up the street.
You also have the, said Barbell event is the 27th of,
September.
the same day, the, Brothers of the Brush Car Show is taking place as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, and I said to them last year about talking with you guys and maybe combining.
Yeah, that was anticipated to do, but, somebody dropped the ball. But you're talking about as far as applications go, or combining the event?
Combine the event.
Oh,
combining the event.
yeah, that came up in a conversation, but
I don't think there's enough area to incorporate the two in the same
yeah, the problem,
location.
yeah, the problem with that though is too, well, we didn't know how, what we do is for the community. So all the money we raise goes back to the community in one way, shape or form. I don't know how you then, if you blend in with
Oh,
another,
I see.
Right.
Two different.
Yeah.
that could pose a
Yeah,
bit of a monetary distribution problem.
yeah.
Possible, so great idea. Maybe at some point down the road, could think that through a bit, maybe there is a way, but. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
No objections, we'll move on to topics not anticipated within 48 hours.
I have one.
Joyce?
Well, I'm still wondering about the nicotine packages. Have you seen any of that at all?
No.
That is so weird, because I was reading about it, that they were, letting people. They were packing nicotine. And people were like sucking on it or something.
Oh, yeah, that's what they do with it.
Yeah,
Casey is coming on the 17th, am I going with
Yeah.
her? For tobacco compliance checks, I was gonna ask her. But the other thing too, and this is just food for thought, and it's not an agenda item, so I don't wanna linger on it, but with regards to that, the board, should they so choose, can ban any nicotine product that they want. Or, any of, like in Blackstone, the Blackstone Board of Health banned, any type of, vapes in the town. So the board,
yeah, well, for me, that would be a no-brainer, it actually. Just say, no, if you think you're gonna do it, you're not here, not in this town.
so maybe something in a future agenda,
Yeah,
Yeah, we probably need more information on what these nicotine patches actually are and.
they're like packages.
Yeah, I can picture it.
Right,
They,
yeah.
instead of snuff, you put that in your mouth.
it's like a tea bag.
Yeah, that's what I can picture.
Yep.
But I haven't seen anything material on it.
I think it's called Zyn pouches. ZYN.
Yeah, they come in little, cylinders.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and when you're done with it, you can put the used one in there too, that's right too, someone told me that, I just remembered that.
I usually see them spit out around, is what I usually see.
Okay,
Anyway,
Okay.
but Zen is the,
I'll get you some, I'll get you,
Yeah.
I'll ask Casey for it.
Yeah, okay, it just is, to me, it's just really is a bad, hugely
well,
bad.
we know how toxic
Yeah.
the vape
Yeah,
refill is.
Oh, yeah.
So I can just imagine if you have one of those sitting on your coffee table and
Yeah.
the dog or the,
Yep.
you know, your
Child.
2-year-old
Yeah.
watches you put it in the mouth and they do, I mean, it could probably kill
right.
Mm.
Yeah, just. yes.
them. All right, so we'll get some more
Right.
material,
Yeah, we will.
you know, the details of what all that stuff is.
Yeah, right.
So we can discuss it. Anything else? Good and welfare for the board?
I only had one, it's more of a story than it is anything else.
Is it of a lovely lady?
Of the hoop.
A lovely lady?
Wow, you're going back, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, just, yeah. And I don't know if you caught this last week on the news. This kind of falls in your territory because I was gonna ask you a question about it. Story on Channel 5 about a woman in, I believe it was the town of Sudbury, who opened up a few years back, converted one of those small photomat shops to a drive-through, a coffee drive-through place. It's a small little
Coffee,
thing.
COFFEE,
COFFEE, coffee, yep.
okay.
She's been there about 10 years. It's Debbie's drive-through.
Hmm.
And she, along with the coffee, for many years, she does other little pastry things and egg sandwiches. And the egg sandwiches have been a pretty big hit. So I guess recently in the town, they have a new individual that's taken over as director of the Department of Health there. And she was told that the way she's been doing it, the egg sandwiches anyway, is they'd like her to change it. But what she does is she basically takes an egg from the refrigerator and she takes it and puts it into, cracks it, puts it into one of those little containers, microwavable containers,
Mhm,
and then heats up the egg in the microwave
mhm.
and then serves it on whatever croissant or whatever it might be. Along with there might be bacon or something else. But there seemed to be an issue with the process of having the egg come from the refrigerator as a raw egg and going into a microwave. And what they had stated to her was they would, I don't know if this was stated as a preference because they didn't actually stop her. They didn't take away a license or anything like that. But they wanted to see her either use pasteurized eggs, which should be like in the carton type of thing where you pour that
Oh,
pasteurized.
yeah,
Or there was one other option they presented, but there's something about doing it in that manner. And I couldn't, I was kind of doing some background research. I couldn't necessarily come across anything definitive that created a problem or was a health problem in taking an egg from the fridge and cooking it in that manner in the microwave and serving it from that. I don't know if you had ever come across that or have any.
Unless they're concerned about whether or not in cooking, the egg in the microwave, depending upon the wattage of the microwave, whether or not it's being cooked thoroughly. And if, maybe an individual who maybe wasn't necessarily allergic to eggs, but sensitive to eggs, or a young child may become ill.
Hmm.
I don't see that there would be an issue with from the refrigerator. It must be because it's a small area, maybe the wattage of the microwave. I don't know. I'd have to.
The element of the microwave, of the type of the strength of the microwave didn't come up in the story. It seemed to be presented just as it was the fact of just taking it from the fridge and cooking it in that manner in the microwave is where the objection came from that.
That really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Again, I'll go back to, the egg itself and, bacteria, if, again, if maybe the individual doesn't feel.
Are they
Based upon
putting it in
research.
as an egg with or are they cracking the egg and putting it in a bowl and cooking it that way?
Yeah, they're taking the egg, they're cracking, they're not putting the whole egg in the microwave. They're opening up, cracking, open up the egg, putting it in one of those little microwave containers. Putting it in the microwave, setting it for whatever strength, time they needed to
Yeah.
cook the egg. and then taking it out, putting it on.
How is, you know, the container that she's using, how is she cleaning it? Because that could be the issue,
That I can't say.
right? If it's a small area, I don't know what the setup is, I'd have to look at it.
I vaguely
That
remember
container.
those little,
That's the cool. That's,
Yeah, they were little, so
yeah,
that might be that they're concerned about the bacteria that may be remaining in that container if it's not properly washed, you know.
so like in between uses.
Right.
Now,
Right,
I'm just assuming that,
unless
they were
you're
being
using a
cleaned, but-
throwaway container.
That I
would
wasn't
think
sure.
we'd be using a throwaway container.
But I don't know the whole story.
In my-
Right.
in my mind, but. I don't
Those are
know.
my only two things, is
Yeah.
it's a bacteria thing, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
There's
So-
some sort of,
Right, either
Transfer.
it's not because the container she's using, if it's a reusable container, they feel that it's, you know, unless it goes through like a dishwasher cycle, that
Yeah.
it's not being properly sanitized.
so just the issue of taking the egg from the fridge and putting it in, let's say it is a reusable, but it's a one-time usage container. And you put it in, and you're cooking it to the level it needs to be cooked at, and then you're serving it. That process in and of itself shouldn't be a problem.
No, I mean, we all cook, you know,
you think the FDA would have an issue with it because they still make those, see at Walmart, like I seen on
Oh,
TV.
yeah.
They're two little egg dishes, they drop eggs and it's like poached steaks or something in the
Right.
microwave.
Well, I was thinking that if that were the basis for the desire for her to change her operation of how she served these sandwiches. Thinking to myself, how many other places in that community might be doing a similar thing,
Hmm.
using a microwave? I know a lot of places now have gone to the pasteurized,
That's what egg.
or they purchased pre-done eggs in the package. That was the other thing they suggested. And then you heat those up, and serve that.
it's
But-
gotta be the bacteria, the reusable container.
What I intended to do was so this happened last week, the story came out, and this past Monday was the BOH meeting, and this was gonna be discussed. Because the woman mentioned that to change that process, she was thinking about actually just hanging it up. Unfortunately, I didn't make that, I was gonna just kind of listen in on the meeting, and I tied up and did, so, because I was curious to hear what the end result of the whole
Right,
story was, because she was hoping to have a lot of people who would support her and basically come to the meeting, and,
I could wait for the minutes to be posted,
yeah.
or watch the meeting.
True,
Or
yeah,
it's recorded.
and what town is it?
Sudbury.
Sudbury.
It's gotta be the bacteria,
Yeah, so I was just curious, I wondered,
because they're not, you know, because the eggs are not pasteurized. So they're asking her to use pasteurized egg into that container, so that's gotta be what it is.
right,
Yeah, and she's probably using that same microwavable container.
Over and over and over
And
again.
over again.
okay,
I can't see her having a triple bay sink
No,
No,
in that small confined
Right.
area.
no.
And maybe it's something that the microwave on its own wouldn't kill
mhm,
okay,
if it's a bacteria.
right, and depending upon the wattage of the microwave.
Yep.
He probably has a small wattage microwave.
yeah, so if you remember the old the drive up and photomat booths,
Yeah.
that's exactly what this is on a little island.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they still existed.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's probably one of many.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, that was story of interest, I thought I'd throw it out there.
Joyce, anything?
Oh,
Good. All right. I saw a news story on nitrous oxide addiction
Yeah,
and how devastating it can be. Now, I remember back in college, back in the early 80s, when your can of Cheese Whiz was empty,
Oh,
Oh,
some people would
right,
get a little buzz
Huffing.
off of
I was gonna say huffing.
yeah,
what was left in it.
yeah,
They now sell nitrous oxide cartridges
yes.
in stores. And this was a story about a girl, I believe, from Florida, who eventually developed like a $300 a day addiction and killed her.
wow,
Holy, yeah,
So,
the whipped cream, ready whip.
oh my
but these are actual nitrous oxide cartridges.
To do what?
Get high.
And I,
Coffee.
That's really pathetic.
Yeah.
You think they would ban those?
Sad,
Yeah.
you know? But just another
God.
addiction.
Mhm.
And I mean, everybody thinks of it as, you know, laughing gas at the dentist office. Well, nothing to laugh about.
Mm-mm.
I believe this young lady was 28
What
or
a shame.
to 30 years old.
Hmm.
And her parents are going before, I believe it's the Florida State Legislature to try to come up with some kind of a ban or control on this.
That is pathetic.
Yeah, really, really sad. Poor thing, 20-something years old.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I guess, you know, we don't know when or if any of that's being sold and rented.
Is that like a hardware store, convenience store,
No, I-
gas station?
Yeah.
So I'll be interested if you or your associates come across anything like that in the state of Massachusetts. That's all I have. Motion to adjourn.
Is that the next meeting?
Oh, sorry, 9:10.
10? Yep.
9:10.
Okay. At 7.
and it's an FYI, I will be away that week.
Good
Oh,
for
where
you.
are you going?
I did not approve this request.
I've got to talk to you about it, you know, when
Yeah, I mean, you
I
only,
hadn't woken up yet.
You're gonna
Some
get
come
two-
in some early morning
you're
and
gonna give 2 weeks notice. You
it's
can't
a
leave-
piece of paper on your desk and say, Jack, will you sign this?
All
you
right.
can't leave until 7:55, 2 weeks from now.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Now, there's a possibility I may be able to attend remotely,
Okay.
but
Go on,
just a heads up.
vacation.
Well, you know, Joyce was on vacation and she was, you know,
Very diligent.
diligent enough to chime in and participate, so. But I'll be able to let you know as I get closer to that date if I be able
So
to see you.
that's September 10th.
September 10th.
And where are you going to be?
I'm we're going down to Howard, well, family
That's
vacation.
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Which is so nice.
yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
so move.
Second,
All in favor?
on aye.
Joyce, aye.
Al and I.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
I watched